like everything about it. The owner and the CEO of Thirdstone is Gary Easterwood, and basically what Gary got, he's a good fisherman, he loves to fish, but his passion was how he could develop a way to measure the strength of tide movement. You know, we all, as fishermen, key on tide strengths and beginning and the end of a tide, but Gary actually wanted to know, could he measure the strength and body of water, how much water moved at a given point of time, and unbelievably, he created a theory that I believe is correct, based on fishing logs that I've kept throughout the years. His feeding times are adjusted because of that tide strength, and I got amazed with him and introduced myself to him because I saw he had some demonstrations at a boat show, and at that show he had implemented his software on a big screen TV, and I could see the adjustments and the curves, so to speak, of what he did, and when he thought those tides were majors and minor related to feeding times of fish. And I could only compare it to what the fish species that I fish for, but it was dead on the money. And so we kind of established relationships, started talking, and eventually became sponsored by him. And you know, the other thing about his software that's kind of cool for a guide or a fishing enthusiast is that he's got data logs that you can actually go in, enter the time of day you fished, your strength of your tide, what the wind, what the water clarities were, and the baits you caught them on, and log it all down. And most importantly, you can log your hours. A captain has to record all of his hours to renew his license. And so it makes it easy at the end of your 5 years. You can just print all your data and store it and turn it into the Coast Guard on that application. But the other thing is that the way the software is set up is you can, not only are you recording your data or your catch ratio, but of where you caught them, what time of the year, and so through time you get this overlay of information. In other words, April, we're fishing the middle of the month in April, and in 5 years, I'd have 5 years worth of data that I could hit that month in those years, and it would tell me what time I caught them, what parts and what base systems I caught them on, and just give me something to reference. So there's some really neat applications about it. The other thing that makes the software so incredible is the price. You know, I think everybody now is in the age of computers, and so most software programs start at $70 and go to about $150 and up, and this is reasonably priced for the novice to the expert. It's a $40 package, and it's updated automatically whenever he implements something new into the software or makes any changes. It has an automatic download because it's driven by Windows, and it's really a cool deal. I would, you know, obviously they're a sponsor of mine, but I'm also a believer that don't ever rep anything you don't believe in, so, because you won't do it. You won't use the products if they're not good. And so I think these guys have really tapped into something that a lot of anglers are going to, once they get the concept and get their hands wrapped around it, they're going to be using it. Well, for the novice is where it's really a benefit. For somebody like me or a lot of the anglers that have spent years and years on the water, it almost becomes memory. You get so much time on the water that you just get accustomed to where you should be at certain times of the year and what's going on in your base systems or other places you're fishing. But for the novice, it's a beginning, it's a starting point. He can eliminate 90% of his water column based on the information he has, as long as he believes it, and then he can react from it. So he's not just aimlessly blind. You know, the software also has map features and GPS coordinates that you can log and implement those coordinates into what the tide's doing and what the feeding times are at that particular area. And I think that's a big benefit. I think confidence is the #1 thing in making a good angler, and if you can raise the confidence of the average guy that only gets to go out on a weekend or once a month or twice a year, then what a great investment. You know, most fishing rods today are $150 up, and you get $300 or $400 worth of gear just on a single application, and you can go buy a piece of software for $40. It kind of makes sense.